Hello everybody and welcome back to Quarantine Kids Storytime. My name's Sascha Cooper and I'm the co-founder of this project. Today I'm going to be continuing Kaa's Hunting from the Jungle Book by Rudyard Kipling. Yesterday we saw Mowgli being carried off by the monkey people. How does Kaa feature in all this? Let's find out, shall we? For a time he was afraid of being dropped. Then he grew angry, but knew better than to struggle. And then he began to think. The first thing was to send back word to Baloo and Bagheera, for at the pace the monkeys were going, he knew his friends would be left far, far behind. It was useless to look down, for he could only see the top sides of the branches. So he stared upwards and saw, far away in the blue, ran the kite, balancing and wheeling as he kept watch over the jungle, waiting for things to die. Ran saw that the monkeys were carrying something, and he dropped a few 100 yards just to find out whether their load was good to eat. He whistled with surprise when he saw Mowgli being dragged up to a treetop and heard them give the kite call for, "We be of one blood, thou and I." The waves of the branches closed over the boy, but Ran balanced away to the next tree just in time to see the little face come up again. "Mark my trail!" Mowgli shouted. "Tell Baloo of the Sayanay pack and Bagheera of the Council Rock." "In whose name, brother?" Ran had never seen Mowgli before, though of course he had heard of him. "Mowgli, the frog, man cub they call me. Mark my trail!" The last words were shrieked as he was being swung through the air, but Ran nodded and rose up till he looked no bigger than a speck of dust, and there he hung, watching with his telescope eyes the swaying of the tree tops as Mowgli's escort whirled along. "They never go far," he said with a chuckle. "They never do what they set out to do. Always pecking at new things in the Bandalog. This time, if I have any eyesight, they have pecked down trouble for themselves, for Baloo is no fledgling, and Bagheera can, as I know, kill more than goats." So he rocked on his wings, his feet gathered up under him, and waited. Meantime, Baloo and Bagheera were furious with rage and grief. Bagheera climbed as he had never climbed before, but the thin branches broke beneath his weight, and he slipped down, his claws full of bark. "Why didst thou not warn the man-cub?" he roared to poor Baloo, who had set off at a clumsy trot in the hope of overtaking the monkeys. "What was the use of half-slaying him with blows if thou didst not warn him?" "Haste, oh haste, we may catch them yet," Baloo panted. "At that speed, it would not tire a wounded cow. Teacher of the law, club beater, a mile of that rolling to and fro would burst thee open. Sit still and think. Make a plan. This is no time for chasing. They may drop him if we follow too close." "Oh, they may have dropped him already, being tired of carrying him. Who could trust the Bandalog? Put dead bats on my head, give me black bones to eat, roll me into the hives of the wild bees that I may be stung to death, and bury me with the hyena, for I am the most miserable of bears. Oh, Mowgli, Mowgli, why did I not warn thee against the monkey folk instead of breaking thy head? Now perhaps I may have knocked the day's lesson out of his mind, and he will be alone in the jungle without the master words." Baloo clasped his paws over his ears and rolled to and fro, moaning. "At least he gave me all the words correctly a little time ago," said Bagheera impatiently. "Baloo, thou hast neither memory nor respect. What would the jungle think if I, the Black Panther, curled myself up like Iki the porcupine and howled, 'What do I care what the jungle thinks? He may be dead by now!' Unless and until they drop him from the branches in sport, or kill him out of idleness, I have no fear for the man-cub. He is wise and well taught, and above all, he has eyes that make the jungle people afraid. But, and it is a great evil, he is in the power of the Bandalog, and they, because they live in trees, have no fear of any of our people." Bagheera licked one forepaw thoughtfully. "Fool that I am! Oh, fat, brown, root-digging fool that I am!" said Baloo, uncoiling himself with a jerk. "It is true what Hathi the Wild Elephant says, to each his own fear. And they, the Bandalog, fear Kaa the Rock Snake. He can climb as well as he can. He steals the young monkeys in the night. The whisper of his name makes their wicked tails cold. Let us go to Kaa." "What will he do for us? He is not of our tribe, being footless and with most evil eyes," said Bagheera. "He is very old and very cunning. Above all, he is always hungry," said Baloo hopefully. "Promise him many goats." "He sleeps for a full month after he has once eaten. He may be asleep now, and even were he awake, what if he would rather kill his own goats?" Bagheera, who did not know much about Kaa, was naturally suspicious. "Then in that case, thou and I together, old hunter, might make him see reason." Here Baloo rubbed his faded brown shoulder against the panther, and they went off to look for Kaa the rock python. They found him stretched out on a warm ledge in the afternoon sun, admiring his beautiful new coat, for he had been in retirement for the last 10 days, changing his skin. And now he was very splendid, darting his big blunt-nosed head along the ground and twisting the 30 feet of his body into fantastic knots and curves, and licking his lips as he thought of his dinner to come. "He has not eaten," said Baloo with a grunt of relief as soon as he saw the beautifully mottled brown and yellow jacket. "Be careful, Bagheera. He is always a little blind after he has changed his skin, and very quick to strike." Kaa was not a poison snake. In fact, he rather despised the poison snake as cowards. But his strength lay in his hug, and when he had once lapped his huge coils around anybody, there was no more to be said. "Good hunting!" cried Baloo, sitting up on his haunches. Like all snakes of his breed, Kaa was rather deaf, and did not hear the call at first. Then he curled up ready for any accident, his head lowered. "Good hunting for us all," he answered. "Oh, Baloo, what do thou do here? Good hunting, Bagheera. One of us at least needs food. Is there any news of game afoot? A doe buck, or even a young buck? I am empty as a dry well." "We are hunting," said Baloo carelessly. He knew that you must not hurry Kaa. He is too big. "Give me permission to come with you," said Kaa. "A blow more or less is nothing to thee, Bagheera or Baloo, but I have to wait and wait for days in a wood path, and climb half a night of the mere chance of a nape. Sure! The branches are not what they were when I was young. Rotten twigs and dry boughs are they all." "Maybe thy great weight has something to do with the matter," said Baloo. I am a fair length, said Car with a little pride. But for all that, it is the fault of this new-grown timber. I came very near to falling on my last hunt, very near indeed, and the noise of my slipping, for my tail was not tight wrapped around the tree, waked the Bandar-log, and they called me most evil names. Foolish yellow earthworm, said Bagheera under his whiskers, as though he were trying to remember something. Have they ever called me that? Said Car. Something of that kind it was they shouted to us last moon, but we never noticed them. They will say anything, even thou hast lost all thy teeth, and wilt not face anything bigger than a kid, because they are indeed shameless, these Bandar-log, because thou art afraid of the he-goat's horns. Bagheera went on sweetly. Now, a snake, especially a wary old python like Car, very seldom shows that he is angry. But Baloo and Bagheera could see the big swallowing muscles on either side of Car's throat ripple and bulge. The Bandar-log have shifted their grounds, he said quietly. When I came up into the sun today, I heard them whooping among the tree-tops. It is the Bandar-log that we follow now, said Baloo, but the words stuck in his throat, for that was the first time in his memory that one of the jungle people had owned to being interested in the doings of the monkeys. Beyond doubt, then, it is no small thing that takes two such hunters, leaders in their own jungle, I am certain, on the trail of the Bandar-log, Car replied courteously, as he swelled with curiosity. Indeed, Baloo began, I am no more than the old, and sometimes very foolish, teacher of the law to the Sayanay wolf cubs, and Bagheera here. Is Bagheera, said the Black Panther, and his jaws shut with a snap, for he did not believe in being humble. The trouble is this, Car. Those nut-stealers and pickers of palm leaves have stolen away our man-cub, of whom thou hast perhaps heard? I heard some news from Ikki. His squills make him presumptuous, of a man-thing that was entered into a wolf-pack, but I did not believe. Ikki is full of stories half-heard and very badly told. But it is true. He is such a man-cub as never was, said Baloo. The best and wisest and boldest of man-cubs, my own pupil, who shall make the name of Baloo famous through all the jungles, and besides we love him, Car. Tss, tss, said Car, weaving his head to and fro. I also have known what love is. There are tales I could tell that need a clear night when we are all well fed to praise properly, said Bagheera quickly. Our man-cub is in the hands of the Bandar-log now, and we know that of all the jungle people they fear Car alone. They fear me alone? They have good reason, said Car. Chattering, foolish, vain, foolish and chattering are the monkeys. But a man-thing in their hands is no good, and no good luck. They grow tired of the nuts they pick, and throw them down. They carry a branch half a day, meaning to do great things with it, and then they snap it in two. That man-thing is not to be envied. They called me also yellowfish, was it not? Worm, earthworm, said Bagheera, as well as other things, which I cannot now say for shame. We must remind them to speak well of their master, Asp. We must help their wandering memories. Now, whither went they with the cub? The jungle alone knows. Towards the sunset, I believe, said Baloo. We had thought that thou wouldst know, Kaa.
I? How? I take them when they come in my way, but I do not hunt the bandalog, or frogs, or green scum on a waterhole for that matter. Sss.
Up, 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 up! Hilo, Elo, Elo, look up! Baloo of the Sayane Wolf Pack! Baloo looked up to see where the voice came from, and there was Ran the kite, sweeping down with the sun shining on the upturned flanges of his wings. It was near Ran's bedtime, but he had ranged all the jungle looking for the bear, and had missed him in the thick foliage. "What is it?" said Baloo. "I have seen Mowgli among the bandalog. He bade me to tell you. I watched. The bandalog have taken him beyond the river to the monkey city, to the cold layers. They may stay there for a night or 10 nights or an hour. I have told the bats to watch through the dark time. That is my message. Good hunting, all you below." "Full gorge and a deep sleep to you, Ran," cried Bagheera. "I will remember thee in my next kill, and put aside the head for thee alone, O best of kites." "It is nothing, it is nothing. The boy held the master word. I could have done no less." And Ran circled up again to his roost. "He has not forgotten to use his tongue," said Baloo with a chuckle of pride. "To think of one so young remembering the master word for the birds too, while he was being pulled across trees." "It was most firmly driven into him," said Bagheera. "But I am proud of him, and now we must go to the cold layers. And I am going to end it there. Thank you so much once again for tuning in. So what will happen next when they go to the cold layers? Tune in tomorrow to find out more. My name's been Sascha Cooper, and this has been The Jungle Book by Rudyard Kipling. Take care, everybody, and stay safe. Bye-bye.